Bro, I miss this place, bro. I miss this place. How are you, mate?
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Jeez. How are you guys? How you doing?
Good, you?
Good?
You look well?
Very good. Thank you, man. ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo fue la vacación? ¿Bien o no?
You do good.
Yeah, how's the holiday?
Good, mate. You?
Yeah.
What's happening? Look at that, mate.
Okay, now. I'm good, you? Yeah, very good, man.
How you feeling?
What about you? Yeah, I'm feeling good, man. Excited to be back. Going back after Greece, I felt so good to be back, and you know, I was full of positivity. I was full of energy, and I knew that I wasn't far away from being running on the pitch. I was the first one to be back, and you know, I was always just excited to see my teammates. Always first one in. Always first one in. Not even the physios are here, you know. Professional. You get me?
Outside of the club, the first time I saw Hector I was actually walking down the high street, sort of near where we both live, and sort of minding my own business, and I literally bumped into Hector. He sort of had the hoodie on and a cap, and I think it was early season, but yeah, he just physically grabbed me and said, "Hey, what are you doing here?" You know, and I think to me that sums up Hector. You know, he's a guy that is having a coffee on the high street with a minimum of fuss and happy to chat to anyone, and yeah, that was my sort of first meeting with him outside of the club. Yeah, it was just sort of really refreshing in a way.
Hector's basically English now. He's been here for so long, and he's a big part of the club. And I think in terms of the staff and players, everyone respects him, and he's got time for everyone.
There's a lot of bouncing around and joking all the time.
What?
He's very positive as well. He's a funny guy, and he was very cheerful. So it was, and is another one that brings a very good vibe to the place.
Very good one. Very, very good.
Sort of the aches and pains that you're getting towards the end of the season. Tell the camera.
This one, the one at the back that I told Paolo. So basically, when I used to put weight on the leg fully straight. So let's say if I was doing step up to box, when it was fully straight, I used to feel like some pains at the back, but they've got better. I can almost like fully sit on it and stuff.
That must have been painful, by the way.
On the shin a little bit, yeah. Not too bad.
Was that specifically for the catwalk gave you that one, or what?
No. The catwalk came after. That was because of my knee injury.
Right.
Because you know, like snakes shed skin.
Right.
It's like rebirth.
Okay.
So after the knee,
Yeah.
I had time to reflect on a lot of things, and I was like,
You've gone with that one.
actually, the idea was to do it in the other leg, but I was still quite like infections and stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, doesn't matter, I'll do it in this one. So
Same
then
message, isn't it?
yeah. Yes, this is my office right now. So I do all my bikes, all the tests. Sometimes I let people come into the office sometimes, you know. They're like, ask me, Hector, please, can we come and, you know, do some work with you? I'm like, yeah, maybe just for today, depends. Or gym every day, and yeah. Was it good? How was Miami?
I see you faking your pictures on the bike.
On the bike, of course. I was putting water all over me.
It's spraying itself.
No, it was nice. I was in Greece. I went with Paolo, the physio, you know? Oh, it is? Yeah, no, it's decent. So we were just training in the morning and then... Friends at Arsenal, to me, have been big pieces of the puzzle. Whether that was John Torral, that we played together since we were 8 years old at Barcelona, and we moved to London together and lived together for the first 2 years. Emi Martinez, Ignacy Miquel, Serge Gnabry, and then after in the first team, Nacho, Santi, or even Miquel. You know, those friendships, those relationships were so important for me, because that was my family then. You know, with Serge, we still have like such a good friendship, and John and Nacho, you know, we call each other every week, making sure that we're okay. If one has an injury, we're in constant, you know, taking care of each other, and we had such good times all together that we still reminisce of.
It's hard to get a hold of him sometimes, but yeah, he's the same Hector that I've known since we were 8. Sometimes you can lose a bit of the essence, and Hector never did that. He's never done it, and he never will. He'll remain humble. He'll remain being Hector, and that's the way he is. And just spending time with him now, with myself having kids and him being around the kids and everything, you can see the essence of Hector.
You build so many friendships at the club. It's always difficult to see people come and go, and how the dressing room changes sometimes just with one person not being there anymore. You know, having Nacho go on that year was difficult because he had always been my support, and coming into the first team, we played in the same position, just on different sides. So we used to talk a lot about the way we played, and gave me lots of advice. And yeah, it was just difficult that, you know, my brother that, you know, we spend every day together was leaving. So I knew it was the best for him as well. He was going to play back home, close to his family, close to his friends. So, you know, definitely a good place for him. And it's always difficult to see people come and go, and how the dressing room changes sometimes just with one person not being there anymore. You know, football doesn't stop. You need to get over it and on to the next game. Me and Rob had always been close. You know, we've always had so much respect for each other, and you know, we do yoga together. There's only like a few of us that do it at the club, and we play in positions next to each other, and we just get on really well.
Like another leg there, and then another like stick out. And then like his head's quite big as well.
His hand was like proper like, what happened, mate?
That was good, I think.
Look at that, how straight. With the ruler.
With the ruler. It was the first game I think I'd gone to since my injury. First time I was sort of able to get around without crutches. I might have been just coming off crutches at the time. And I was watching from the box, and I seen him go down, and it was totally off the ball, so I'm thinking, oh no, please don't be an ACL. And then he was lay on his back, and I remember him holding his leg like this, and like the pain on his face. I thought, oh, this is bad. And I went into the box to watch the replay of like the mechanism of how he stepped, and sort of you see his knee pop and stuff. Then it was like, that could be a ACL, could be a long one. And I just started crying. Like, I was sat with my missus at the time, and I was just crying, and she had her arm around me, and I was like, I don't even know why I'm crying. Like, it's just, I know it's Hector, and I know it's going to potentially be a long injury, but I don't know if it's because my emotion was so raw from mine, and the pain was still there. And then I just know everything that he's going to go through with the surgery, and then being sat on a couch for 2 or 3 days after just not being able to do anything and struggling to go to the bathroom. You know, it's not pleasant.
Rob was the projection of what was coming for Hector. You know, that I think made someone confident, because Rob didn't have any setbacks as well.
Robbie.
Oh, it's a foul. Foul, getting carded.
By seeing the projection of his short future in Rob, and the way he was getting better by the day, I think that helped to give Hector some positiveness.
I was able to have someone that, you know, when things weren't going well, he could tell me like, oh no, Hector, listen, I went through the same stuff, and don't worry, next week you'll be fine, or after this you're gonna have to do this. And we were support for each other.
He was comfortable with, in his mind, what his process was, and knowing someone else is doing the same things that you're doing is comforting. And I just know that he'd have done the exact same with me if he was the one that did it first. He'd have been doing everything he could to help me, because that's the type of person that Hector is. So it's something that I just felt I had to do.
Robbie's a great guy. It's the definition of a great guy. Got time for everyone. He's one of the people that I think what shows truly, especially in the world of football, how a person is. It's not just how they interact with their teammates, but also how they interact with staff. And you know, staff sometimes are seen as like the players and the coaches, and then the physios kind of come underneath, right? But at the end of the day, we're all people, we're all the same. It doesn't matter how much we get paid, or it doesn't matter who's on TV or who does this or who does that. We all play a massive part of the game. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do our job properly. So Rob is someone that having conversations with the members of the staff, and he knows everyone and he takes care of everyone. And yeah, I mean, he was of massive help. He's a smart guy. He knew everything he needed to do for him to come back stronger as well. And he was a great example for me to follow.
For someone like Hector coming into it, obviously being a step back, he can obviously see where everything's headed. The other thing as well is, I think Rob has been really positive for Hector in if he's had a little bit of knee stiffness or he's felt uncomfortable doing an exercise in the gym. Often Rob can relay, no, this is normal, this is to be expected, I had this. And that carries a lot more weight than, say, if he hears it from myself or any of the other strength and conditioning or physiotherapists.
We were close beforehand, and I think it did make us a bit closer, both having this.
Or he's going to the nets. Do you want to use the dumbbells or do you want to use the power blocks for your push press?
What am I doing? What's the plan?
Push press.
That's legs. They told me not legs.
It's not legs, come on.
Okay. I'm just saying, if tomorrow my test goes wrong, it's always Sam's fault. Just go in camera. I'm strong, mate. You looking at me like...
I've just seen how nice and lined up you are.
I've been working. Yeah, those days were really hard because there was just... I remember my program that they'll give me every morning as soon as I get there was just getting longer and longer and longer. Just like loads of different things that I wasn't able to do before due to the mobility of my knee. Yeah, then after that I'll get some more treatment, and then, have to go into that ice bath, put ice on my knee, do some mobility in the pool. So very full on days. He hasn't done gym before this, by the way.
We had a really good sort of stint of close to 3 months in the gym of really good solid work. And it's funny now, we look back on his videos of when he first started and they're very, very basic. But I think that's also great in terms of having that as a reflection point. You can look back and sort of see the inroads he has made.
The fact that I knew that I was gonna be on the pitch very soon, I think made those days even longer, because that was the weight that was like just the day I had been looking for the most. Because I knew playing was still far, but just being able to put my boots on and go out and run, didn't even have to touch the ball. I just wanted to put my boots on. Everyone's going out to train and you see everyone walking out with their boots on, and you have to stay inside and do your rehab, and those times are hard.
I think it's quite an achievement once you get back from that, knowing that you've been through that process, you've achieved something, It's being able to stay committed through all that and come back and be stronger than you were beforehand.
So Hector's first run on pitch, which is generally a sort of momentous occasion in rehab, because by that stage you've done all this foundation work, but you're a long way from the grass, a long way from the balls. So his first run coincided with our US trip. Very hot days in LA, we were at the time.
I just finished one training session. We were in LA. All of a sudden, I think it was Tim that told me, just so you know, tomorrow you're on the grass. And I was like, really? And we were joking around. I was like, man, I didn't bring my boots, man. I didn't know it was gonna happen. I forgot them in London. So, but no, it was so exciting for me.
You almost have to relearn and just sort of sow the foundations again. So a lot of more traditional athletic drilling exercises.
Yo guys, how you doing? Starting to run. It's been kind of emotional. So excited thinking about like, I'm gonna run. And it's like almost like you don't feel the pain.
was the first time that stepped on the pitch, was the first time that I got introduced into the ball again. It was all kind of quick actually, how in that week I went from just like started running outside, and towards the end of the week I was already playing with the ball. And I remember seeing videos of like my running mechanism at the beginning of the week and at the end of it, and the improvement was already so big. Came back to London, had a long way to go until I was back training with the squad. This part now was training with the ball, but without opposition.
So we started building his sessions by way of having multiple bodies around him. We then layered in some under-23 sessions, and through that period also some contact, so some block kicking, some one-on-ones, and then to get into some small-sided games.
I think those were one of the hardest weeks actually, I would say, because we used to work really hard in the gym and then used to go outside. We had to keep ticking boxes, and we were already on the pitch. We were feeling better every day. We still couldn't play. I remember the first sessions, we were playing as floaters. So let's say if there was a possession, we would be on the outside and players could use us, but they couldn't tackle us. Rob told me that one of the things that would be great to do is to get your first tackle in. In one of the first possessions, I remember like the ball was a bit of far reach and I didn't even think about it. I just kind of instinctively just went for it, and I stood up and I just put a smile on my face. I was like, look, that's the first tackle done, over. So yeah, that kind of just gave me a little bit of confidence to like be more involved in the game and defensively just do a little bit more.
I seen on his phone he had the European trophy as his wallpaper for a period of time. And I remember seeing it thinking, have you got that as like a goal that you set to remind yourself? That's pretty switched on. Like, I like the look of that.
I wasn't even thinking too much. I was just like possibly just like enjoying the fact that, you know, all this work had just led into this moment. At the same time, loads of questions. You know, is it too quick? Like, even though I had been training for a while, there's things that you can only do in games. Like, I don't really go 100% on a challenge in training because I don't want to injure myself or injure my teammate, but in the game you have to. If I wanted to be ready to then compete with the first team, I had to make sure that I was going 100%. So there was doubts, I'm not gonna lie, there was doubts. When people ask me, I always say that somehow this injury was positive. Like, it was positive for me to miss 9 months with an ACL injury and having to be away from the game I love for that long. And the reason I say that is because I was able to understand myself more. It's the value that I got after I lived these moments, even though they were so hard at that time, and they have made me who I am, which I'm proud of, and also have made me love the game even more. You know, that period where I didn't play made me fall in love and made me appreciate how lucky I was and how much I loved football more than I did before.
Please welcome back to Hector.